Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be, it was going to be a favorites video. However, about 2 days ago, it's been a little bit over 48 hours. I decided that I was going to go get filler. And I ended up getting my under eye area touched up. And then I got a little bit right here in the balls of my cheeks. I'm going to get into that in just a minute. Like I said, it's only been 48 hours. So what you're seeing now is probably not what I'm going to look like in the next, 2 weeks or so, because it takes a little bit of time for everything to kind of settle in and smooth out and stuff like that. So, and I'm probably going to lose a little bit of the volume that you see right now, because I think some of this is definitely a little bit of swelling, a very mild swelling, because I've got the best doctor in the world. So that is what this video is going to be about, because it's so fresh on my mind right now. I just want to share with you like what to expect, what to think about before you go in, what to remember while you're there before you leave the office, and what you should expect like after you leave the office. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so for those of you who are new to my channel, about 4 years ago, it might be 4.5 years ago, I'm not sure, but I will put the date somewhere here on the screen. So about 4 years ago, I set an appointment and I wanted to address the under eye puffiness that I had going on under my eyes. And so I decided that I was going to get filler. And so what they did is they injected filler into the tear troughs. Those are the grooves that sit like right under the bags, that kind of accentuate the bags. And they just inject filler, underneath those grooves, and it kind of plumps them up so that it just camouflages the bags. So the puffiness is still there somewhere, but it's camouflaged because, they filled in those grooves. So the last touch up that I had in my under eye area was, like I said, over 3 years ago. And unfortunately, it does not all dissolve at the same time. For whatever reason, parts of my face want to hold on to the filler more than others. And I've heard that's pretty common. I know another girl here on YouTube who has said that her lips seem to hold on to filler longer than most people, So I think it's just everybody's kind of different, kind of thing. So anyway, I still had a lot of fullness right here in my inside corners. However, on the outside corner, especially on this eye, my filler had dissolved so much, in addition to, just continuing to age. And, every year after a certain age, we just continue to lose more and more volume in our face. And so for whatever reason, this side of my face loses volume way quicker than this side of my face. Natural volume, not like filler and stuff, but also filler. And so, so this side, I had lost the filler, but then I think I've also lost some volume. So it just literally looked like this side of my face was like melting. And I just didn't like it, especially in certain lighting and stuff like that. I would really notice it. Or if there was like a shadow, coming from this side, it would almost look like I had a black eye. And so I definitely wanted to get that touched up. Also on this side, I was losing some volume right in here. And so I was starting to see that groove on this side again. And then also about 1.5 years ago, I don't know if I mentioned this, about 1.5 years ago, I had filler injected into the balls of my cheeks just right here. And because they were really flattening out, and it almost looked like I had a dent, especially on this side, of course. And so I did get the balls of my cheeks filled in about 1.5 years ago. And I wanted a little bit of a touch up on that because I could tell that it has dissolved in that area a little bit. And I really liked that. That was like one of my favorite things. Well, they're both my favorite things. Like both of them were such great decisions for me and my appearance, I think. I am going to put up a picture right here. I do want you to see me whenever I was I was in my late 20s. And I've always had a really, really full face. And so for me, the way that I look now, it almost looks nothing like I did when I was younger because of the shape of my face. Like my temples were real full and now my temples are hollow. I was real full in this area of my face also. I did not have these cheekbones because I was so full that you couldn't even see them. They were there, but you just couldn't see them because the rest of my face was so full. Now that I've lost so much volume in my temples, it's like I've got these giant cheekbones that stand out, and I do not like it. Some people like that, and some people will get filler to make that look more prominent. But for me, I do not like that. I want the volume back in here. I would like it here, but I'm not even gonna mess with that because I'm afraid I'll look kind of funny or something like that. You might think I look funny right now, I don't know. But anyway, so that is what I decided to go in and address. I wanted to address the volume loss under this eye and a little bit of the volume loss there. And then I wanted to get a little bit touched up in my cheeks. Okay, so whenever I say that I went in on a whim to get filler, I literally did. Like, my doctor, he takes walk-ins, and which is really not very common at all. But I think he realizes that Botox and filler literally takes like 10 minutes. And he's not a plastic surgeon. He's actually an internal doctor, but he has a med spa on the side. And I swear to you, because I've had filler in my under eye area by an esthetician that worked for this plastic surgeon for 10 years doing filler, and she's the one who really bruised me the worst. Then I went to a plastic surgeon here in Corpus, and he did a really good job, and I had one little teeny tiny bruise. However, he retired. And so this doctor that I went to, he had actually been my Botox doctor since I was 36. That's when I started getting Botox. However, whenever I was 36, I started getting Botox, and I would get it very regularly, like every 3 months. And then for whatever reason, whenever I was around 40, I just almost stopped doing it. And I know I didn't get Botox for like 2 years or something like that. And then I started going, you know what, I should probably go back and do it. And then I would only do it once a year. So in the last several years, I've only gotten Botox once a year. I get it right around May, like right before the summer starts. And that's all. And I never get it on my forehead because I've gotten it there before, and it drops my eyebrows down so low that I look like Frankenstein. It just looks awful. It's not worth it to have a smooth forehead, you know? And so all I ever do is get right here and then my crow's feet. I always get 20 units or 25 units max, and that's it for the last several years. I've only done my forehead twice in my entire life, and then I was like, never again. So anyway, but he's always been my Botox doctor. Now, I knew that he did filler. I know that he was known for doing really good lips, and I don't know if he did cheeks and stuff like that. I do remember though, whenever I was wanting to get filler in my tear troughs for the very first time, I asked him about it, and he didn't do that area. He doesn't do temples either. And so that was like 4 years ago. I knew he didn't do tear troughs, so I was like, but he's doing them now. So I was like, oh no, it's, is that enough time to get really good at it or something like that? And so anyway, I went ahead and took a chance because he did my cheeks, and I loved how precise he was and how he went back and forth. And he was like such a perfectionist about doing just this little area in the balls of my cheeks and making them so even and stuff that just the way that he handled that experience a year and a half ago made me think that he's probably really good in the tear trough area also. In addition, I feel like sometimes I can look at somebody and just know the kind of work that they might do because they themselves look like they're probably a perfectionist. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell that he takes really good care of himself, like his physique, and just he looks put together, you know what I mean? So anyway, because I loved what he did in my cheek area, I thought I'm gonna give him a chance with my tear trough area. And if, I may regret it, I don't know. So glad that I did, because just like with my cheek area, it was the same thing. Like, he'll stare at my face so hard and look back and forth and go left and right and just really make sure he looks at every area to make sure that he thinks that things look very symmetrical. Now, I don't think that anybody is as a perfectionist as you are to yourself. Obviously, he's not inspecting me as hard as I do whenever I'm this close to the mirror, you know what I mean? Even though he was like that close to my face, like looking at it and stuff. So anyway, I go in, I tell him exactly what I wanted to address. I wanted to address the giant dent that was under this whole eye, and a little bit here, and then a little bit in my cheeks. Well, he was studying my face so much, and it was almost like, I felt like, I thought he was gonna talk me out of it for a second. But he said, okay, here's the deal. This area out here, your outer corners of your eyes, they're so vascular that every time you inject a needle into that area, you're taking a risk. So he was looking at it and he said, so what I'm gonna do is I'm only gonna prick you one time on this side, and I'm gonna try to get as much as I can in that area, but you could only go so high, you know, without taking more risks, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, you know, that's fine. And then I was like, you know, I feel like this cheek has gotten flatter than this one. And he was looking, he's like, they look so symmetrical. I do see that you lost a little baby bit of volume, because you could still see like my filler here that was 4 years old, it was still there, but a little bit of my cheeks had dissolved. So then you could almost see the filler that was still under there. So he wanted to camouflage that. So that is what he did. So he went in and he did one prick on this eye and just kind of went in as much as he could to fill in that hollowness. There is still a little bitty baby bit of hollowness, but because the improvement is so big to me, I'm like, big deal, you know? I feel like I'm a 47-year-old woman. I'm not supposed to be, you know, completely filled up to my, you know, my eyelash line. It would be nice. This eye seems to be doing okay. Like I said, this one doesn't lose volume as much. So anyway, he filled it in as much as he could right in there. Then he did get that area that I wanted him to address right here. And then he put a little bit right here, just under my old filler that was under my eye. So one thing that I do want to say is that right now it's only been 48 hours. And I don't know if it's the same for everyone, but this is just my experience, is that right away under the skin, it literally almost feels like bone or cement. It's really hard. Even right now, it's still very hard. Like I can feel it. It's real hard right here. And it's hard right here. I don't have anything, I didn't get anything put in from the nostrils down. Now I do want to say this. They only sell full syringes. They do not sell half syringes. So I purchased a full syringe. They happen to be having a sale that day, which I didn't know. So they typically charge $550 for a full syringe of Juvederm, but they were having a sale, so it was only $450. I thought, because whenever I got my cheeks done, I got Juvederm XC, and that was $650 for one syringe. So I thought that that's what I was going to be paying. So I was really surprised when I found out I was only going to be paying $450, because they were using Juvederm, not Juvederm XC, because Juvederm XC is a lot thicker and they don't like to use that under the eyes. So anyway, the first thing that he said was like, there's no way we're going to be able to use this whole syringe just in that area. So is there any other place that you would like to put it? And I was like, well, let's just do that area first and let me see what it looks like. And then, you know, we'll go from there. So he injected this area and it literally took like a minute and a half. And he gave me the mirror and right away I was like, whoa, wow. Like I was just so shocked at how quickly, you know, he was able to put volume in that area and camouflage that dent. Now, right now, there you might be able to see, like I said, it's really hard, so you can kind of feel it when it all softens up. Hopefully, you won't be able to, but he took that, what was coming way down here, and brought it way up to here. So then he touched up this area right here, and then he touched up this little area right here, right under my old filler. I can feel it. It's so hard. Now, I do want to say, over here, it is still very tender. This side is a little bit tender, but not like this. And I knew that it was because within the first, like, I don't know, maybe 6 hours or so, this side swelled up a little bit and this side didn't. And I was like, oh no, this was the side that I needed the touch up. But one thing you need to know about filler is that it doesn't swell all at the same time. So it might do it, like I said, this side swelled up immediately and this side didn't. What happens is it's a hyaluronic acid. So it draws water to itself and it draws your body fluid to itself. So I guess that pull was just a little stronger on this side. So the fluid, it attracted the fluid and started to make me swell on this side, but not this side. And I was thinking, oh no, it's gonna be so uneven in this and that. And I was like, oh shoot, I should have waited. Anyway, well, when I went to sleep that night, I woke up in the middle of the night and both my cheeks were real tender. I was like, whoa, and I felt it and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I could tell that there was fluid in there. Went to the bathroom and sure enough, this one had swollen too. So I was glad because now they were even, because before it was like this one was full and this one wasn't. And so anyway, that's something you have to keep in mind, especially if you're getting a touch-up and you're not getting it all done at the same time. So when you're getting a touch-up, you're getting little bits and pieces in different places. So you might swell and then it's gonna look real uneven and real weird. Like that first day and a half, it was like, it started to look hard. It started to look real ridgy, like ridges or shelves, something like that. But every day it softens up a little bit. I can tell the swelling went down a little bit right in here, but it's still there. I can still see, like I can see right now that I'm more swollen right in here than I am here. So that's something you have to keep in mind. So anyway, back to the story. So he injected all the areas that I wanted him to address, and we still had half a syringe left. Which means it took a half a syringe to fill in all those areas that I wanted, which is not a lot at all because the syringe is only like that big. So he used literally like that much liquid. So I still had that much liquid left. And he said, where do you want me to put it? And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was looking in the mirror and I was like, you know what? I thought I was going to come in here spending $700 and it's costing me $450. I was thinking, I'd rather just toss it than go overboard, because the last thing I want to do is go overboard. I'm all about wanting to do things as subtly as possible. My biggest fear is going over. That's my husband's biggest fear, actually. Any time that I've ever gotten filler or anything like that, he's like, Jennifer, do not go overboard. Please don't. I mean, I don't want to repeat this because I don't want you to think that I think this, but this is my husband, and he's kind of biased, I guess. But he has said to me, he's like, I wish you wouldn't, he would rather me get nothing done. As a matter of fact, he's just like, I feel like every time you go do something and you mess with your face, you're messing with perfection. And I'm like, whatever, I know there's nothing in me. I know you guys know that I do not look in the mirror and think that I'm perfect. But he says those things to me because I think that's his way of being like, don't go overboard, please, So anyway, after he was done, he was like, do you want me to fill you in right in here? And I was like, no way. I don't even really have anything there. And I don't like that look. Like I see women that get all that really, really filled and then it almost puffs this whole area out. And I don't like that. I would rather have those natural grooves right there. Now, if they were really deep, I would get that done, but I've never had those lines there. I have these little tiny lines here that I'm fine with. I'm 47. I should have some lines on my face, If he did temples, I would have asked him to put them in my temples, but he doesn't do temples. He says that in the past, it's real easy for it to start looking lumpy there, and it's very difficult to fix if it does look lumpy there. So he doesn't do temples. So then he asked me, do I want to do my lips? And I was like, no, my husband, that's one thing that my husband's like, he does not want me messing with my lips. And I don't have the fullest lips, and I wouldn't mind having a little bit of filler in my lips, but he's just like, please don't mess with your lips. So I don't. So anyway, I ended up just throwing away half of a syringe, which is about $200, $225. And I wish that I would have really thought about it and been like, let's experiment. Why not try it on my hands or try it? Like I thought, what if I got it like in this area right here to like widen my face a little bit, because my face used to be so much more round. But I just didn't think about that. I was just so excited with the improvement that I saw that I was like, let's just stop here. I'd rather stop on my head. You know what I mean? But, and this is something that I want you to keep in mind if you ever, oh, my husband's home. Okay. So now this is one of the things that I want you to keep in mind if you ever go get filler and if they don't say filler and stuff like that. Like, instead of getting so excited like I did with just the improvement that I saw, I wish that I would have taken a mirror and moved around the room with it, you know, and just been like, okay, let me look at it from different angles. Because now that I've been home, and like I said, it's only day 2, so I know things are going to look a little bit different in the next few days. But even when I'm touching it, I can feel that he put it out here, which is what I wanted to address. He saw something there and wanted to put some there. But I feel like I wish I would have gotten a little bit right in here, because there's nothing there besides my old filler, which is really soft. And so I feel like it looks a little baby bit imbalanced, but like I said, I don't know what it's going to look like in a week or 2. And I do love my results. Don't even get me wrong, but I just wish I would have really inspected things before I left. You know, it's like I said, the first day when this side swelled up and this one didn't, I was like, oh no, I wish I could call and be like, hey, do you still have it? You know, did you throw it away yet? But then the next morning when everything evened out, I'm like, God, thank God, because I would have been chasing a swell and then I would be more swollen on this side. So anyway, but like I said, always don't feel embarrassed to like grab the mirror and move around the room and let the light hit you in different areas so that you can really inspect yourself and think, and so that you know that things look as perfectly symmetrical as you would like, you know what I mean? Another thing that I think that you should keep in mind before you go in is know exactly what you want to address, and don't be afraid to be very, very specific when you are discussing it with him. Because like with my doctor, he's like, okay, so what are we in here for today? And I was like, can I get a mirror? Because I wanted to be able to tilt my head and show him, you know, exactly what I was talking about and what I was seeing. And it's so funny because whenever I was trying to point things out, I was even having a hard time finding it because the lighting in there is different than the lighting in my bathroom. And I actually said, I wish I could take you to my bathroom with me because it looked so much worse in my bathroom than it's looking right here. But then when I turned a certain way with the mirror, I saw it and I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about right there. And then he was like, oh, okay, I totally see that. I think I can fix it. I'm pretty sure that I can, you know, and I was like, okay. So I was real specific about what I wanted. I've also expressed to him that I don't ever want to look overfilled. It's actually one of my husband's, that's like one of his biggest fears. He's just like, I don't want you coming home looking like that cat lady. You know what I mean? She's just so, I think she actually went trying to look like a cat. But you also see these images of people that are just so overfilled. My husband has actually said on several occasions, especially when we're watching TV and stuff and we see a woman who looks like she's gone way overboard, you know, with the filler, he'll be like, you know, like that. Like, does that look good to you? Does she think that she looks better like that than just having aged a little bit? Because he thinks that, and he's said this before, he's like, I feel like some women are so afraid of aging and so afraid of seeing a line on their face that they'd rather, you know, blow their faces up and look almost non-human than dare look a little bit older. So that's his fear when it comes to me. You know, he's just like, I don't want you to get so afraid of seeing yourself age that, you know, you're going to go overboard and start looking weird. But that's not my approach at all. Like, I'm not afraid of seeing lines. I haven't gotten Botox in over a year because of COVID. Usually, like I said, I do it once a year. So I'm always okay with the crow's feet. I have deep lines on my forehead, as a matter of fact. And this is kind of a funny story. This is how, like, I feel like people know, especially people who are pretty perceptive. I think that they know who they can mess with and who they can't, or who they can say things to and who they can't. And my doctor, the guy who did the filler in my face, he's like, so when are you going to come in and get some Botox? And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? And he goes, why? Like, why do you have those lines on your face? You clearly take such good care of yourself. Like, why would you just let those lines be there? And some people might be really offended by that. I was not at all. I was like, I know. I don't like doing my forehead because it ends up dropping my eyebrows and then I look like Frankenstein. He's like, no. But the way that I place it, I place it high so that it won't do that. And just, come on, you don't need to have those lines on your forehead. They're getting deep and you need to address those. And I'm just like, like I said, it did not offend me at all. And I think he knows that I'm the type of person that would never be offended by that. I'm sure there are some women that, have been in his office that he would never say something like that to, but he's joked with me before about other things. And so I think he knows that I'm the type that I'm just like, okay, maybe I will. And as a matter of fact, I think I might, like I said, I've always had crow's feet. I actually think that crow's feet look a little bit sweet and sincere. I don't mind crow's feet. I don't like this stuff going on right here. I've never minded the lines on the forehead. I don't care about lines on my forehead. They're pretty deep. Look at that. And that's what he was talking about. He's like, you need to go address those. So I think I might. He told me there was a great sale going on. So anyway, my point is I've always been pretty conservative in my approach. I'm not trying to look 20 years old. I would be lying if I said I wouldn't like to look like I once did. Who wouldn't? I know that I could never put that much volume back in my face. Even if I did, it wouldn't look the same because things have dropped, especially like in this area. I know that my bottom half of my face doesn't even look like it once did. Obviously it couldn't. If you saw that picture, I'll put it up here again, as round as my face was and how much volume I've lost, it has to go somewhere, and it's definitely, come down here now. So that might be something else I address up the road, but not right away, obviously. What? Look at that. Look how different. That's my old face right there. Like when I pull it up like that. Oh my God, I hate that. So my chin's just gotten bigger. That's what it looks like. Anyway, I could just pick myself apart. So I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. The most important thing is that right after you get filler, it's gonna feel very weird under your skin. Certain parts of the filler is going to attract the fluid in your body a lot quicker than other areas. So it might look lumpy. It might look really full on one side and not full on the other side. Usually by the next morning, it all fills out. But still, like even right now, it's really hard right here. It's definitely hard and really kind of squishy right there where I think that there is some swelling. And yeah, and it's still tender on both of these areas right here. But in the next few days, the way that my doctor explained it to me was that, my body fluid and the product is going to find a balance. The skin's going to tighten and it's going to kind of smooth everything out. And, it's going to look a lot different. So you just have to be patient. Don't ever jump the gun and go back there being like, I need to dissolve it or it's not looking right, or blah, blah, blah. Like I said, this is day 2. So in 7 days and 14 days, it's going to look a little different. I do think that if you do get filler in your cheek area, that it is going to make your nose look a little bit different. So if you do that, keep that in mind. It's funny because when I asked my husband, like, he had made a comment yesterday. He's like, I just don't ever want you looking like the cat lady or whatever. And so I was like, uh-oh. And I was like, does he think I look like the cat lady? So I was like, do you think I went overboard? Do you think I look like the cat lady? And he goes, oh, why do you keep asking me that? And I was like, because you said something about like, you don't ever want me looking like the cat lady. And so I'm thinking, do you think that I'm going in that direction? And he's like, I will tell you if I think you're going in that direction. And then I go, so does it look okay? And he's like, Jenifer, I'm so sorry. I hate to even say this, but I cannot even tell the difference at all. Like you look exactly the same to me. And I'm like, are you serious? And I said, okay, so that's a good thing because I was afraid he was going to be like, I hate to say this, but it's going in that direction. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm glad. I was happy with that response. I'd rather him think that I look exactly the same than think that I am looking weird or I've gone overboard or something like that. So in his mind, he's just thinking, you look the same to me. I don't know why you just went and spent money to look exactly the same, but you apparently did, and you're happy with it. I think as long as I'm happy, then he's completely happy. However, like I said, if he thinks I'm going overboard, he's definitely going to tell me, which I think that makes him a good husband. I don't think that makes him bad. And somebody's going to be like, oh my God, like your husband should love. I mean, trust me, somebody's going to have something to say about that. So the last thing that I wanted to mention for those of you who live in South Texas or who live in Corpus Christi, where I live, I go to Renew Medical Spa, and my doctor's name is Dr. Mario Martinez. Like I said, he is the best. So far, I have loved everything that he's ever done to my face, and I've never been left with bruises. I do have a little bit of swelling. I think that's just a natural part of, you know, your body and the product, you know, kind of finding a balance. But so anyway, yeah. So that is the end of this video. Hopefully I covered everything that I wanted to cover. And yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below and I'll try to answer those. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great weekend and I will see you next week.